Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Streaming to you from the Hardboiled English studios in Vancouver, Canada, to Facebook, YouTube, VK in Russia, and LinkedIn. I'm Paul Duke, your host, English instructor, coach, and language detective. On this show, I answer your questions about the English language and solve your English mysteries right here live. The format of the show is simple. You type in your questions in the comment thread, and I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't, I promise you I'll do my research and bring an answer in the following week's show. You can also connect with me on social media and send me a text message with your question before the show, or even send me a video clip of you asking the question and I'll play it on the show, which is often the case. So to start with, welcome to the show. Please say hello in the comment thread and tell us what country you're from. Our viewers come from all over the world, and it's really exciting to see where in the world you're watching us from. For those of you who don't know, I'm also the creator of the YouTube video series English Weirdness, which I make with my English students. And you can find this on the Hardboiled English YouTube channel. So English Weirdness is the long-form series in which we explore and investigate the confusing parts of the English language. You can see it on the YouTube channel. As well, we have a new series developing called English Confidential. Now, this one might be really important because it explores the way native speakers of English make mistakes, use strange structures, or just plain speak badly. And learners like yourselves might pick up bad habits, and we want to avoid that. So in this series, I examine some of the problems native speakers express. Also, we are brought to you by our new sponsor, Ling app. If you haven't already, I encourage you to get a hold of this app, and it helps support our show. This is a language app, a little bit like some you've seen before, but it also has games, graphics, and it really kind of dives deep into various languages. And it's not just English, there's a whole bunch of languages. So get your copy of Ling app, and we benefit from that. So check that out. Okay, another reminder is a couple of weeks back, before we went on hiatus, which is a short break, we announced a joke contest with my frequent guest and co-host Anish Daya from On the Spot Language. So this joke contest, what we want you to do is to either translate a joke from your language into English, or just share a joke you know in English. Share it with us, and then on April 30th, we are going to announce the winner. And how we're going to do that is we're going to play all the jokes on the show, and you guys can vote on the best joke. Now, you can send me the joke through email. It can be a text message. It can also be a video clip. Okay, so either way, get your jokes to us. Okay, we've got a lot of ground to cover on this show because, as I mentioned, we've been down on hiatus for 3 weeks. So we've missed you. I've missed you. It's been a long time since we had the show running. So I'm really excited about tonight. And I've already got some questions to explore. So stay tuned for that. First, I want to say hello to some of the viewers who are already watching. We have Chris from Belgium watching. And Chris, I know it's 4 a.m. in Belgium. So thank you for staying up or getting up early, whichever the case is, and joining the show. We have Aiko from Vancouver. Aiko, welcome to the show. We have Farudal Islam from Bangladesh, which is very far away from where we are. We have Nadim Solangi. We have Wako from Japan. We have Andre from Brazil. Who else is joining us here? Okay, and by the way, guys, the link to get your copy of Ling app is in the comment thread. We have Abdu Abdallah from Morocco. Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. So yeah, guys, say hello in the comment thread and tell us where you're watching from. That's really exciting for us. Now, one of our frequent viewers, his name is Osama. Osama sent me a really interesting photograph that I want to explore. So I'm going to put this up on the screen. Yep. And Osama took this picture while he was out for a walk, and he saw this sign on a medical clinic which says Alpine Medical Clinic, 8 days a week. Alpine Medical Clinic, 8 days a week. And he asked me, Teacher Paul, what does that mean? There are only 7 days in a week. So why did they write that? Is it a mistake? Maybe. Well, this is an example of how English is twisted or even used badly on purpose in advertising. Okay, we've looked at some of these in previous episodes, bad grammar in advertising. And the reason is it catches your attention. Okay, now certainly a native speaker reads that and notices that there's a mistake. But by the time they've noticed the mistake, the advertisement already has your attention, which is the goal of advertisement. And look around, there's lots of examples of that. This is a type of bad grammar or figurative English called hyperbole. Hyperbole is when we exaggerate something to make an effect. And what it does is it indirectly expresses a meaning. Now, most of you out there, if not all of you, I hope, know that there are only 7 days in each week. So how can they possibly be open 8 days a week? Makes no sense. First thing to mention is that's not a complete sentence. 8 days a week. It's actually just a noun phrase, a group of nouns. There's no verb. What it really means is, if we were to turn that into a long sentence, it means Alpine Medical Clinic is open 8 days a week. That's the message they want you to have. Now, why 8? Okay. Well, it's possible that it's an error and they meant 7, but I think this was intentional. I think they're exaggerating to tell you that they are always open. They want to emphasize that they're always open. If they said 7 days a week, it sounds like every other business that's open 7 days a week. What they want to do here is express that they are always there for you, right? Even if you were capable of adding another day in the week and making it 8 days a week, if you had that power, they'd still be open. In other words, they're just always open. So I think this is a case of exaggeration or hyperbole in advertisement. So thank you, Osama. Great question, and thank you for the picture. Who else is joining us? Okay, let's say hello to Sasha. Sasha from Germany, I think. And Dujdao from Thailand. I hope I said your name correctly. Dujdao. Is this Sasha Kasper? Yes, my old friend and student, Sasha Kasper from Germany. I'm so happy to see your name pop up, Sasha. Who else do we have? We have Luisa Katz from Brazil. Welcome back, Luisa. We have Tirath. Tirath is from Nepal, which is also on the other side of the world from where I am. So it's lovely to see you, Tirath. Luisa, welcome back. And my friend in Korea, I don't know how to say your name in English letters, so maybe you could type it for me. But hello to South Korea. Okay. Well, guys, tonight I've been receiving, I'm going to cover something. Yes. I'm going to cover some material that was sent in to me earlier. But the first thing I want to do is bring to you our word of the day. Every week now, I'm going to bring you a brand new piece of vocabulary that you can use. And this vocabulary is going to be a little unusual, but also useful. I'm not going to just throw fancy words at you and make you sound like an idiot when you use them. These are words you will use and hear. That's important too. Even if you don't use them, you will hear native speakers use it, and I don't want you to be confused. So our word of the day is vociferous. Okay, vociferous. And the accent is on the second syllable, right? Vociferous, vociferous. And this is an adjective, and it means expressing your opinions or feelings in a loud and confident way. Okay? So we can describe nouns as vociferous. Now, clearly, if something is expressing an opinion, it's a person. So you're going to describe a person as vociferous. So what I want you guys to do is write me a sentence in the comment thread. This is your turn to practice. Write a sentence using the adjective vociferous. Now remember, it's an adjective, so it should be in front of a noun, like, I'll give you my example. Can we clear the graphic for a moment? We could say, Trump is a vociferous president. Donald Trump has loud opinions. He is a vociferous president. Well, actually, we can say was a vociferous president of the US. Okay? Now I want you to put in your sentences now, okay? So put them in there and we'll have a look. What do we have? Okay, Chris is staying up late to watch our show. Thank you for the effort, Chris. I appreciate it. Okay, guys, I want you guys to make a sentence with the word vociferous. Trump was a vociferous president. You might say Teacher Paul is a vociferous teacher. Okay? So give me your sentences. It's your chance to practice. Vociferous. The guy on TV was vociferous. The newscaster was vociferous. The soccer player is very vociferous. Any examples, guys? Give me your examples. Louisa asked a great question. Can we use it as an adverb? Absolutely. This is one of the adverbs with ly. So you can describe a verb as vociferously. For example, Donald Trump spoke, that's your verb, spoke vociferously. Okay, we have Andre's example. He says, I've never met a vociferous person. Okay, good. Vociferous is the adjective describing the noun vociferous, person. Louisa, do you have an example that you can share with us? Okay, Chris says, I like to be a vociferous teacher. Perfect sentence. Very good. My friend was vociferous. Good. So whose is this? This is Abdus. Okay, so this is good. Now you'll notice he has vociferous, and the next word is not a noun. So in his sentence, vociferous is a complement describing my friend, right? My friend is the noun it's describing. So that's a structure you can use also. It doesn't have to be in front of the noun, like vociferous person. It can describe the subject. My friend was vociferous. What else do we have here? Louisa, do you have an adverb example? Okay, Aiko has an example. Hanyu Yuzuru is a vociferous figure skater. Okay, now this is interesting. I'm assuming, I don't know this person very well, but if you say this, it means as a figure skater, he doesn't just skate, he talks a lot. And he offers opinions about maybe skating or the Olympics. It's really related to how someone speaks. In fact, if you look carefully at the word vociferous, VOC, that's the stem word meaning voice. So vociferous means lots of voice. Okay? Lots of voice. This person has a loud opinion, a loud voice, strong and confident. Okay, we have another viewer joining us. We have Tin Han Win. Say hello, saying hello to us from Myanmar, but lives in Korea. So welcome to the show, Tin Han Win. Very nice. Thank you for joining us. Louisa Katz, did you think of an example how to use this as an adverb? It's a good point. We can turn this into an adverb. And that's what's great about English words is that if I teach you an adjective, Some words also have other forms, other parts of speech they can occupy. So vociferous can be an adjective, and it can also be an adverb. And now you've learned two different words, two forms of the same meaning. This is how you expand your vocabulary, guys. So when you learn a new word, don't stop there. Check the dictionary and see if it has other forms like adverb or noun or verb forms. A lot of English words do. Okay, Abdu's got another example. Very nice. To be vociferous, we should train ourselves too much. This is good, except for one thing, Abdu. When you say too much, when we use the word too, that turns something into a negative that makes it bad. For example, my coffee, my water, my cup has enough water. There's this much, so it's good. But if I pour and pour and pour and I have too much water, that's bad because it's going to go over and make a mess of my floor. Or if you say, working too much is bad. Why? Because you don't sleep, or you don't eat properly, or you don't exercise. So too much is actually bad. It's negative. So maybe you mean to be vociferous, we should train ourselves a lot. Very nice. Okay. Sasha has a good question here. Is it possible, he says, to relate it to things like downtown Vancouver is sometimes vociferous? This is a great question, Sasha. Thank you for asking it. You can do this, but what this means is it turns downtown Vancouver into a person with a voice, right? In English, we call this personification, right? When you apply human characteristics to an object. Usually that's done in literature, right? Like the sun smiled at me, right? So the sun becomes a character with human characteristics. So you can say downtown Vancouver is sometimes vociferous, meaning the people of Vancouver protest politics a lot, or they're just loud with their opinions. So you take the group of people in Vancouver and have the city represent them, right? So, or it's purely the city itself. It's a loud, opinionated place. So it's personifying the city. So if you do apply this to a noun that's an object, like a city or a car or a mountain, you're definitely doing something figurative, okay? Because the inherent meaning of the word, Sasha, is voice. And cities don't have voices. The people in the city have voices. So it really means to express your opinions or feelings. Well, cities don't have feelings either. This is related to voice. That's where the VOC is. Yeah, Sasha, it's like a metaphor. Metaphor is another type of figurative language, right? When you compare one thing to another that it can't possibly be in real life. But this is specifically personification, which is when we put human characteristics onto objects. So you can certainly do that, but it is figurative in its meaning. I want to say hello also to Maha. Maha, thank you for joining. I saw you recently on a TV live show of some sort, so congratulations for that project. Chris Derboven says trolls are vociferous. Very nice. Paul is a vociferous teacher. Yes, I talk a lot. Andre's got a nice example. One should defend their point of view vociferously if need be. So he's using this as an adverb. Well done. And the verb it's modifying is defend. So one should defend their point of view vociferously if need be. Excellent work. Okay, Abdu's got another example. At the beginning of her communication coordinator job, she was less vociferous. right? Often new employees are careful not to talk too much because they want to learn and listen. So they're less vociferous. Joining the show, we also have Wendell. Welcome to the show. He's asking a question related to using nouns as adjectives. Wendell. Let's pop that one up. Are payment types and type of payment interchangeable? Yes, they are 100% interchangeable with no change in meaning. And by the way, Wendell, I'd love to know what country you're in, by the way. But this is a topic, using nouns as adjectives, that I explore in depth in one of my episodes of English Weirdness. So maybe we have the graphic for that episode. Nouns as adjectives. Where is it? Yeah, it's the white one. Upper right. Yeah, that one. So in this episode of English Weirdness, which you can find on my YouTube channel, it explores this in depth, using dramatization for context as well as animation. This is a very important topic in English because it's very commonly used, and not a lot of people get taught this properly. So great question, Wendell, but I don't want to spend too much time on the show explaining it because there's a great video which I think explains it in full. So have a look at that, Wendell. I think that'll answer any question you have about how to choose which noun can be interchangeable as an adjective. So great question. Okay, let's put away vociferous for a moment. Okay, Maha's got a question about vociferous, similar to what Sasha asked. Great question, Maha. Thank you. Yeah, so we can use this to talk about cars and traffic, meaning that they're loud. But when you do it, it becomes figurative in meaning because now you're giving human characteristics to the car. So let's say you're trying to sleep and there's traffic outside your window. You might say, the cars and traffic are so vociferous. In my imagination, when I hear that, it's almost like the cartoon cars, the Disney movie cars, and they have characters. So it makes it sound like their cars are being loud and opinionated on purpose just to prevent you from sleeping. So you're really turning them into characters. This is an act of personification. So you can certainly do this, but I wouldn't do this in normal speech use because it's very figurative and somebody may not understand you. It's probably clearer and less figurative, in other words, more literal, just to say the cars and the traffic are extremely loud, right? Okay, so I want to say hello to, Wendell's from Dominican Republic, I think. Dominican. We have Shawnette from Guyana. Wow, far away. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining us. Okay, guys, I've been asked to talk about something today. I want to spend a little time on it because it comes up a lot. We've covered it a little bit in the past. And recently, a lot of people have asked me this question. So today I want to talk a little bit about prepositions. Everybody hates prepositions. There are two problems with prepositions. One, some languages don't really use them. Two, some languages, depending on where you're from, have prepositions, even similar prepositions to English, but use them very differently for different meanings. So I'm going to do a quick little lesson on prepositions, okay? So the question I've been asked is, what's the difference between to and for? What's the difference between on and at? And how do I use them? How do I make sense of this? How do I choose prepositions? This is a great question. And it's important in English because there are a lot of prepositions used a lot, and you really need to understand them. So I'm going to explain this in a very brief summary, maybe in a different way than you've heard before. Okay, so here we go. First of all, the very first thing we need to think about is, why do we need prepositions? Well, there's a couple things I want you to remember. One thing, prepositions have one job to do, and that is connect nouns. Oh, hold on. What about phrasal verbs, teacher? They're verbs plus prepositions. I know. We'll get to that. But their job in a sentence is to connect nouns. Why do we need that? Well, let me show you why. If I have an object, a noun, this is a bowl or a dish, I don't know what you want to call it, and I have another one, like moose. It's my Canadian moose, Canada moose. Okay, so I have two objects. I have two nouns, right? I have dish and moose. Let's do a little test. What happens if a stranger came up to you on the street and said, "Excuse me, moose, dish, moose dish"? You're going to look at them like, "Why are you bothering me? You're crazy. Get away." Or you might even just run away. Moose dish has no meaning. We don't know the relationship between these two nouns. Enter prepositions. Okay? Prepositions connect nouns to other words. They can connect nouns to nouns. They can connect nouns to verbs, but they connect nouns, especially in space. We live in a three-dimensional world, 4 if you include time. And we connect objects and nouns in the world with prepositions. For example, moose dish has no meaning to you. I get that. What if I said moose in dish? Moose in dish. Okay, I still sound crazy, but at least you understand the relationship between these two objects. The moose is in the dish. Even if I don't use the verb is, it still starts to make sense, right? Moose in dish. I don't know why, I don't know where, but I know the relationship between these two objects, right? Or let's try something different. We have a flat surface, okay? And a surface is usually a two-dimensional flat thing. In this case, a book surface. If I say book, moose, there's really no relationship clear, right? What if I say moose on book? Now the relationship is clear. The moose is on the book. I know where it is in space. I could also say moose under book. I could even say moose in book, right? It'd be strange, but I could. So prepositions connect nouns with other words, including nouns, but not limited to nouns. It can also be verbs and other things. Okay? That's their job. Here's another tip you have to remember. They relate to verbs. Now, functionally, they connect nouns in the sentence. Okay? Moose in dish. But relate in meaning to the verb. And I'm going to show you some examples to clear this up. But the choice of preposition is often related to the verb of the sentence. Okay, so bear with me. Grammatically, they connect nouns to other words, but semantically, in terms of meaning, they are related to the verb. Remember, in a sentence, words are not alone. They're all related to each other. And that's what grammar or syntax is. It's the system of relationships. And that's how we create meanings. That's why it's important to learn this stuff. Okay? Sometimes prepositions are also metaphorical. What does that mean? Well, for example, the moose in the dish is not metaphorical, it's literal. It actually means what it says. But sometimes you're not actually in a container like a dish. Right now I'm in a room. That's literal. But if the show goes too long and dinner is late, I might be in trouble with my wife. She might say, "Hey, where's dinner, man?" If it's my turn to make dinner. So I might be in trouble. Well, trouble is not even an object. It's an idea or a kind of relationship or a problem. It's a concept. It's abstract. And in order to understand abstract things we can't see, sometimes we compare them to something we can see, like a dish or a pot or a box. So trouble is like a container. And when you're in trouble, you can't get out, right? You're locked in, right? So trouble is like a box or like a prison, and you can't get out. So you're in it. You're not on it. You're in it, okay? So sometimes prepositions are metaphorical. So these are three things you need to understand about how we use prepositions. Now I'm going to show you some examples. Okay. Some of these might be strange, but let's imagine you bought a TV and you have trouble with it. Actually, let's wait on that. First, I'm going to talk about the 4 most commonly misunderstood prepositions, okay? 2 and 4, number 1. Especially for my Brazilian friends or Spanish-speaking friends, these are a problem. And I think it's because in your language, you use for a lot. The preposition equivalent of for in your language is used a lot. In English, it's not, okay? I went to the store. Why did you go to the store, Paul? I'm going to tell you the reason. Now, some students would say this, for buy shoes. That's my reason, for buy shoes. But in English, this is impossible. Why? Because buy is a verb and for is a preposition. Prepositions don't connect verbs. They connect nouns. Remember that. So what we're looking for here is an infinitive verb, to buy shoes. Okay? So one thing you can remember is for plus verb doesn't work in English. We can never say for buy shoes or for study English or for visit my friend. Doesn't work in English. You want the infinitive verb. And one thing to remember is when we use the preposition to with that infinitive verb, it creates one big verb meaning. That's the infinitive verb. It's not a preposition anymore. So don't confuse that. That's one way we don't use for. We don't use for with verbs in English. Okay, so get that out of your sentence. Now look at this. I went to the store. Now, store is a noun, and we have an article the, so that's part of the noun phrase. A phrase is 2 or more words with no verb. The store. So that's where I went. It's my destination. Where I started from, probably you already know, from my home. Or if we're together in school, you know the start. To always works with from. Sometimes we don't say from because we already know where we started. But to, that noun, I went to the store. Now look what's happening here. This pair of prepositions connects origin, or wherever you started, with destination. Okay? So let's imagine we're in a classroom together. We know that. I don't need to say where I'm from. Hey, what are you going to do after school? Well, I'm going to go from school to the mall or to the store. You don't need to say that because we're both together at the school. So we might not say that, but we need to say the destination because that's what's unknown. So if your friend says, what will you do after school? You say, I will go to the store. To plus destination, right? And the destination's a noun. To the store, to the mall, to the ice cream shop, to my friend's house. All of those are nouns. So the preposition is connecting a noun of destination. Okay? Now that fits our first point, which was prepositions connect nouns, right? But they're related to the verbs I said. And look what we have. We have a verb, went. The verb is went. And went is a verb of movement, right? It's the verb go. When you go, you move. Either you move or something else moves. So whenever you have a verb of movement, you're going to use to. Think of all the verbs of movement you know. I went, I traveled, I flew, I walked, right? I brought. Sometimes you bring something. You bring something from home to work, or you bring a TV from the store to home. That's a verb that moves, right? It's a movement. It's expressing a movement. I ran. Where'd you run to? I ran to my home, right? Any verb of movement, but especially go, you're going to use to. Why? Because you're moving from one place to a destination, and the destination's a noun. Okay, that's how you use to. From, to. Verb of movement. And that's the relationship between the preposition and the verb. Now, some of them don't seem like movement. For example, listen, right? But we always say, listen to music. I listen to music. But if you think about it closely enough, you can see movement. How? I turn my stereo on, and then I walk around my house. Well, guess what happens? The music actually does this in sound waves, moves from the stereo to my ears, right? The sound actually travels. It moves from the stereo to my ears. So when I'm listening, listening is an act of movement. You're picking up sound that comes from somewhere else, right? So movement verbs help us understand which preposition to choose. If it's something's moving, use to, okay? Now, for. I told you don't use for with a verb, right? You can't say I'm going to the store for buy shoes. For plus noun is what we want. How about this? How about we say for plus noun and put a noun like you. And I say something like, this show is, or let's even use a different verb, exists. Okay? And then what if I cover this up? What if I cover this up? This show exists, right? The live show exists. Hardboiled English Live exists. Why, teacher? For you. The purpose of this show is for you. It exists for that reason. You are the reason. Okay, and you is a noun. This pen is for what? What's the purpose? Well, it's for writing. Oh, but teacher, writing's a verb. No, it's not. It's a gerund. There's no be verb here. It's just ing form. That's a gerund, and a gerund acts as a noun. Writing is a noun, so it can be the object of a sentence or the subject. That preposition is connecting that noun in expressing purpose. This pen is for you. This board is for sentences. Sentences is a noun. Okay? So that's to and for. The confusion, I think, comes from here. We can't use for plus verb in English. It doesn't work. That's not the infinitive verb we want. Now here's my favorite. Teacher, what about on? On and in. Well, in, as we said earlier, is when something is in another thing. And that other thing is like a container. Okay? And it can be a physical container like a bowl or a dish. It can be a container like a room. It can even be a container that's visible, like the frame of this camera. I am in the frame, right? Now I'm outside the frame. So in is related to something in another thing that acts like a container. These words are in the book. The book contains them. The words aren't coming out. Okay? Sometimes that is metaphorical. That's physical when it's in the book or in the dish, but sometimes it's metaphorical, like I'm in trouble. right? Right now I'm in Canada. Canada is a big country with borders. Borders define the nation. Now, I can travel outside, but while I'm here, the borders contain me. I'm in the country. On is a little different in English. On relates to a flat surface. Excuse me. A flat surface, like a book cover. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath, great book. The pen is now on this. This is also why we say, I'm going to look on the internet, not in. You don't climb into the internet. All you're doing is looking at a surface, which is your monitor screen. And that's a flat, two-dimensional surface, like a wall or a whiteboard. This whiteboard is a surface. I'm going to write on the whiteboard, right? Now here's where it gets fun and tricky. Teacher, what about an airplane? Why do we say on the airplane and not in the airplane? In the car, but on the bus. Let me explain it to you. Remember what I started with. I said prepositions connect nouns, and they tell us the relationship between nouns. Okay? Here's a surface. Okay? It's a street. And here's me. I'm on the street. Paul is a noun, pronouns, a proper noun. Street is a noun. The relationship between us is that I am on the surface of the street. I'm on it. I'm not in it. I'm on it. Okay? You can say in the street, but that's a different meaning. It's implying you're in the center of the street and there's more street around you. You're in the middle, which is dangerous, by the way. But this idea, this view, this vision is that I'm on the street because the street's a surface. Okay? What if I put wheels on the street? Like a giant skateboard. Well, the relationship between me and the skateboard is I'm on that surface. And by the way, on a skateboard, even a short one, you can walk this way and you can walk that way, just like a street. I've seen some skateboarders, really good ones, they can walk a little bit to the tip or a little bit to the back. They can move on the surface. Their relationship is like this. So we say, he's on the skateboard, right? Or it could be surfboard. If you're like the ocean, you go out on the surfboard, you're on the surfboard. And if you've seen, especially the longboard surfers, they can walk out to the tip and do some really cool moves, but they're on that surfboard, okay? So that's the relationship between the person and the surface. They're on the skateboard, they're on the surfboard, they're on the street. What happens if I put big wheels on it and then put walls up and turn this into a bus? It looks like I'm in the bus, right? I'm contained by the bus. However, it still follows the rule. I'm standing on the bus. Where I come from, you don't usually get a seat. You end up standing a lot. But I can move around on it. I can pay here and walk to the bus, walk to the back of the bus, walk to the exit. I can move around on it because my relationship is me on the surface. I don't have a relationship with the walls, usually. I don't touch bus walls. I certainly don't touch the bus ceiling. Why would I do that? My relationship is me on the surface. So if you phone me and say, hey, Paul, where are you? I'm going to say, hey, I'm on the bus, right? And the same thing applies when we take the wheels off and turn this into an airplane. Although that's a pretty stupid looking airplane, right? My relationship with the airplane is that I'm standing on the surface. Even if I sit down temporarily, I still have to stand up and walk to the washroom or walk to get off it, right? Go to the entrance and get off the airplane. So I don't have a relationship with the ceiling. I'm not touching the ceiling or the walls usually, unless it's really crowded. I don't have a relationship with the wings. So it doesn't really make any sense that I have a relationship of container, even though I know what you mean we kind of do. But the primary relationship is me on the floor. Okay? Because the plane's holding me up in the sky. So if I don't have a relationship with the floor, I'm in trouble. Big trouble. I'm going to float around. So we say, I'm in the airplane. I'm in the airplane. No, we say on the airplane because of the surface. An airplane is just a flying surface. It's basically a skateboard in the sky. So I'm on the skateboard. I'm on the surfboard. I'm on the bus. I'm on the airplane. I'm on, what else is there? Car. Car. Let's talk about car. Teacher, I'm on the car. My relationship is with the floor of the car. Not quite. If I drive my car, I have to sit in the chair, right? I have to sit in the chair. I can't stand up and walk back and forth. And I really can't move, right? With a car, you're contained by the seat. The seat is preventing you from movement. So it's containing you like a box or a dish. In fact, if you look at the old-fashioned chairs, maybe 100-year-old chairs, they have these big arms. We call them armchairs still. And you can't move much in those chairs, right? It really does contain you. So because you're in a chair and you can't walk on the surface, in fact, if you're not very tall, maybe your feet aren't even touching the floor. So your relationship is not with the floor of the car. Your relationship is with the chair. And chairs are containers. So we're going to say in the car, not on the car. And that's what's different between car and buses or trains. By the way, trains are the same as buses. We're on the train, on the bus, on the plane. That's what's different about it. With a car, you're contained. There's no walking. There's no moving. You're really contained. So that's the common difference between on and in. Okay? Hopefully that clears up some of the questions people have had about prepositions. The basic ones, right? Let's see if you have any questions about that. Waco's asking, Teacher Paul teach English on a show or in a show? Well, this is a great question, and I want you guys to answer it. Is Teacher Paul on a show or in a show? Think about it. Am I in a container or am I on a surface? What's my relationship with this show? What's my relationship in your opinion? So you guys tell me, am I in a show or on a show? Okay, lots to catch up on. Can we scroll to the bottom and see if anyone's got an answer? Okay. So Chris is saying in a show. Shawnette says on a show. Malu, thank you for joining us, Malu. Malu says on a show. Teaching in a show. Okay, Andre says. Okay, well, think about it this way, guys. How are you watching me? You're looking at a screen, and a screen is a surface. Yoshia says, my opinion is on. Here's another thing about prepositions, guys. Sometimes you can use both, but the meaning will be different. So right now, Sasha says on a show. So the correct answer in this example is on. I am on this show because I'm just a two-dimensional picture on your screen. Now, I know that it has the appearance of depth, right? Now, Sasha is a cinematographer and an expert photographer, and so is Louisa. So you understand this. Lights and shadow give the appearance of depth, right? Depth. But actually, this is two-dimensional, a flat screen. This is a photographic image. It gives the illusion or the appearance of depth. But there's actually no depth here. You can't reach in and grab my hand. And I can't reach out and grab your hand. So there's no depth. It's purely two-dimensional surface. Okay? Let's see what else we have here. Okay, so Andre is suggesting another alternative, which is teaching in a show. Okay, so let's imagine the show is over tonight, and Andre tells his friend, hey, I saw Teacher Paul. He's teaching in this new show on the internet. In that case, the show is removed from the surface because he's talking about it abstractly. Right? The show is over. Nobody's looking at surfaces. He meets his friend in real life. And in that way, you could use in because the show contains me. Because now the show is off the surface and it's out in the world in an abstract concept, right? If he's using it abstractly, okay? But once I'm on the screen, I'm now on the show. So for example, we talk about movies this way, right? Tom Cruise stars in Mission Impossible, right? But if I'm watching Mission Impossible, I'm watching it on my screen. So if I take it off the screen and it becomes the name of a movie, it's abstract. Okay, I've got a couple of questions to catch up on. So let me talk to, okay, Aiko's got a question. Where's Aiko's question? Vociferous. Yeah, we're going back to vociferous. She wants to know, does it have a positive meaning or a negative meaning? Let's put the graphic back up quickly to remind everyone what our word of the day was. It was vociferous, which means expressing your opinions or feelings in a loud and confident way. So she wants to know, is that positive or negative? It's a great question, Aiko. The answer is basically this. It depends on the context. And the context could be a small context like a conversation, a type of conversation. Okay, so if I'm with my friend and we're having a beer, sometimes our opinions get loud and no one gets offended or no one gets hurt because we're friends. So we just go crazy. In that context, yeah, being loud and confident, even obnoxious, a little bit rude is okay because I'm with my friend. If I'm at work and we have a business meeting and I'm being loud and confident, it's okay if someone asks me my opinion. I want to be assertive. I want to express my opinion strongly. Loud depends how loud you are, of course. If I'm going to scream in a business meeting, then it's negative. But if I'm speaking loud so everyone can hear it, then that's okay. Now, if you have the ability to speak to many, many, many people, for example, if you're on a news show, and your opinions are, feelings are loud and confident, that's okay. As long as they're not obnoxious, right? Obnoxious means you don't care about other people's opinions and your opinions might be offensive to other people, then that can be negative. But that's not necessarily vociferous, okay? So that's a different context. Now, if we want to go to the biggest kind of context, which is culture, different cultures have different attitudes about how vociferous you should be. I'm in North America. In North America, you are expected and you are free to speak your opinions loud and confidently. People want to know your opinions. Our culture is such that we want all the good opinions on the table, good and bad opinions, and then we'll debate and we'll find out the best opinions or come up with new and better ones. That's our culture. Other cultures, perhaps like your culture, Aiko, Japanese, is a more reserved culture, and asserting your opinions and feelings in a loud and confident way may be considered negative in that context. Okay? It depends on your culture. So there's different levels of context. It's almost like circles within circles. So even if I go to Japan, which is a more reserved, less vociferous culture, what if you and I meet in Japan and we're old friends and we're having lots of beers and we're getting vociferous with each other. Is that okay? Probably, because my friend knows that I love him and no one's going to get hurt. We're going to have a fun debate. We could even be obnoxious with each other because we're friends, we're close. We can't say bad things to each other. Okay? So it all depends on the context. We've answered that question. Wendell's, yeah. Okay. Nadim. Okay, let's have a look at that. Nadim asked a question: how to improve conversation in English. Okay, great question, Nadim. We've been asked this question a lot. I'm assuming, I think you're in Bangladesh, right? And I'm assuming English is not spoken widely in Bangladesh. Maybe your friends. Pakistan. Okay, good. Maybe you don't have the chance to speak English with a lot of people. I understand that. My first suggestion would be go to a country where everyone speaks English. If you can't do that, there are lots of ways to practice your English. So if you want to improve your English conversation, first of all, you should study English, learn vocabulary, learn grammar, but then you've got to practice. And if you're in a country where English is not widely spoken, the great thing is we've got the internet, right? You can join Facebook groups and make friends and chat. You can join live shows like this. Nadim, you can join me on the show and get your video on screen and we can have a conversation. I'd also recommend trying to find some coaches that are online. We had one earlier, Maha Khan. Maha Khan does a Zoom class with students from Pakistan, and everyone uses English. I would suggest looking for Maha. Maha, are you still with us? Maybe you could post your link to where they can meet you for your conversation groups, which I think is a wonderful idea. I personally don't have such a group or a show, but Maha Khan does. You have to practice. There's no shortcut. Learning a language, guys, improving a conversation is a physical skill. You see, it's not just knowledge to memorize. It's something you need to practice. It's more like learning to play baseball or hockey or soccer or basketball. You have to practice these because you're using muscles and your brain together, hand-eye coordination. Even if you're writing in English, it's a physical skill. You're using your fingers. These things have to be practiced. So, Nadim, the simple answer is how to improve conversation in English. Have conversations. Lots of them. Lots and lots of conversations in English. And when you're talking to someone and you hear a new word and you don't know the word, look it up in your dictionary so that the next time you have a conversation, you have a new word to use. Today you learned a new word, vociferous. Try to use that in a conversation. Okay? There's no easy solution to this. You have to practice conversations. Now, there are lots of ways to have conversations, but we've got the internet. When I was your age, and I think you're pretty young, when I was young, there was no internet. If I wanted to learn a language and practice it, I had to go meet people and use that conversation in real life. Now we've got the internet. You can meet all kinds of people. You can join Facebook groups. You can join Zoom classes. A lot of them are free, right? So that's my suggestion to you, Nadim. Okay, I just want to say hello to a couple people I haven't said hello to. Yoshie has joined us. PK Malik. PK, welcome to the show. I think you're a first-time viewer. Welcome to the show. Karen, nice to see your name pop up, Karen. I hope you're doing well. I think Malu, yes, Malu and I had a conversation earlier today. Shonette, yes. Great. It's really nice to see you all here on the show. I hope you've learned something today. We're almost out of time, so I just want to remind you about our joke contest. I want you guys all to participate. I want you to email me your best English joke or the best joke from your language translated into English. So this is a good practice for your English. Translate it. Send it to me by email. You can also connect with me on social media and send me a text message. Or better yet, send me a video clip that I can play on the show of you telling me the joke. Okay? Now, on April 30th, we'll review our jokes and you can vote on them. So please do that. This is going to be fun. And by the way, guys, let's clear the graphic. This joke contest is no joke. There are real prizes. For example, you can win an English weirdness coffee mug. You can win an English weirdness t-shirt. English weirdness t-shirt with hard-boiled English media on the back. You can win hard-boiled English live t-shirts. We have female sizes, male sizes, all kinds of products. You can find all this stuff on the website, which is www.teacherpaul.ca or www.englishweirdness.com. But if you win the joke contests, you get a free prize. So please participate. Also, guys, there's one more thing I wanted to say about prepositions, which is sometimes you just have to remember or memorize the combinations between the preposition and the noun or the verb that they usually work with. And I've got a master list of the most common prepositions. So if you want a PDF file, free, a master list of these prepositions and what they express with examples, send me an email and I'll send you a copy of the master list of prepositions. Sometimes when you're learning a language, you've just got to study them and remember them. Okay? That's all the time we have, guys. So I want to just quickly say thank you to everyone. Can I have the list? And here we go. We have thank you to Chris Derboven from Belgium, staying awake all night. Thank you to Aiko. Thank you to Faridal from Bangladesh for joining us. Nadim, Andre, Abdu, Sasha. Nice to see you, Sasha. Hope you're well. Dujdao from Thailand. Louisa from Brazil. Tirath from Nepal. We have Tin from Myanmar. Maha. We have Wendell, Shaunette, Shiv. Shiv, I didn't see your name pop up, but welcome to the show and thanks for watching. Malu, nice to see you again. PK, Karen, Yoshie, Wako. I think that's everybody, but if I've missed you, I'm sorry. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to go to my YouTube channel, Teacher Paul's Hard-Boiled English, where you can see the recording of this show. I'll post it later tonight, as well as English Weirdness, our video series, as well as some shorts videos. And we also put excerpts from the live shows. All the materials there on the website, on the YouTube channel. Send me your jokes. We'll be back next week on Friday night at the same time, 7 p.m. That's our new slot. Hopefully it works for you because if you're in Asia or Middle East, it's Saturday morning for you. Please take care. There's still a pandemic out there. Get your vaccine if you can. I'm getting mine soon. Stay safe, stay healthy, always keep studying, and stay cool.